CRO-AM Connections, connecting with Croatian Americans through conversation and events to share our culture. Today on our show, we have Derek Hohn, Director of Fraternal Programs at the Croatian Fraternal Union of America and Vice President of St. George Lodge 354 in Cokeburg, PA.
Thank you all for joining us today, and dobro nam došli. Today we're having a conversation with Derek Hohn, Director of Fraternal Programs at the Croatian Fraternal Union of America and Vice President of St. George Lodge 354 in Cokeburg, PA. Welcome, Derek.
Hey, thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. It's great having you today on our show.
Nice to see you guys back in Cokeburg again, too.
Well, I got a story, right? I'm going to share. I'm going to open up how we met, Derek. We had a great time here, but just a little fun story to share how we met I think at the beginning of this year is how we met. You were collecting the basketball teams for the annual CFU basketball tournament. We decided, to bring back the Big Six Rankin Nation team.
Best dressed team we've ever had at CFU basketball tournament, for sure.
Your team looked pretty good too, but
we didn't have merch.
No, but you guys look good. But we brought back the team, and we were corresponding back and forth on rosters and logistics. And we signed up for, I believe it was the 35 plus.
Correct, yes.
We were hoping for 50 plus, but it was the 35 plus. And you had to get us some bad news that we were the only team that signed up for that.
I don't know if it was bad news because you guys were the champions of the 35 plus just by showing up.
True. But we were like, I had to talk to the team, and we were like, let's suck it up, and we did. But it was an interesting weekend. We felt our age that weekend. But I have to commend you. We had a fun weekend. It was a great event. You guys did a heck of a job. I know it's never easy pulling off these events. People think, it's just magical and stuff happens, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of volunteerism,
absolutely,
and coordination.
And we appreciate you guys coming out for it.
And we had some time to come here and have some food and socialize. Friday night and for lunch here, so we really appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be back for more events.
That's the plan.
In the future.
Hopefully we'll have somebody for you to play. I'll put a team together. You guys will win that one for sure.
Excellent. So there's three parts to our podcast series here. Is about the first part is we really want to dig into your Croatian roots, your family heritage, as far back as you want to go. Right? There's different generational perspectives that people want to get into and of what's of interest. And then the second part is around present day. And you're doing a lot of work here at the Lodge. We want to talk to you about your ascension into the vice president role here of the Cokeburg Lodge. We also want to understand your role at the CFU as Director of Fraternal Programs, what all that entails. And we know you're busy because we see Derek Hohn's name out there a lot. We talked about the basketball tournament. We saw the golf tournament. We see a lot of things, but I think the one thing that kept you the busiest this year, which was when I saw it in the CFU, I was like, I gotta text you. I didn't even really know you, but I was like, hey, congrats, man. Guest conductor for the 2024 CFU Tamburica Festival in Zagreb, and the theme for that was Tambura kroz generacija. And so we really want to talk to you about that, how exciting that was for you and your family and all that entailed to do that work.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, it's coming attractions, what you want to share about the Lodge in the future or CFU or even personal aspirations, what you want to get into there.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it. Let's talk about your Croatian roots.
For sure, yeah. So my family, one side of my family came from Ogulin, Croatia. So it's in Karlovac area, and actually a smaller subsection, Zagorje. And that's where my grandfather's family came from. And actually, surprisingly, that's where my father's mother family came from as well, the Pajan side. So the Lukatic side and the Pajan side were all in the same area in Croatia, separated, came to the United States, ended up getting back together. But it's the one thing that I can say is the reason why a lot of people settled in this area is because this looks exactly like where my family came from. I mean, rolling hills, green, beautiful. That was the reason why we ended up here, and never left. We're not going to the city anytime soon. We're staying in Cokeburg forever. But that's the family came over via Ellis Island. Ended up settling in Cokeburg due to the coal mining industry, and one thing led to another, and now we're Lodge 354 in Cokeburg, PA.
Yeah, and I hear that a lot, even from my family side where we settled. It was all about how it related back to their village or their area.
Absolutely.
So it's a common theme. And so we talked about you were over in Zagreb. Have you been able to connect further with family when you go back on your trips? Or
Absolutely.
How's that?
Yeah, what was nice is this time it was my wife's and my kid's first time. So we got to go to Ogulin, got to see my cousin Branko at his farm, still there, still living his best life. Got to go to a school named after my grandfather. They commemorated a school, Bernard M. Lukatic School in the town of Ogulin. Got to see the church that St. George Lodge was named after. That would be the same church that like my great-grandparents were baptized in. So I have a very close connection. We're very lucky to still be in contact, be able to help support the school there. We've donated some funds to get them new computers, help them increase their access to the areas outside of that town, and we're doing what we can to make sure that Cokeburg knows Ogulin and Ogulin knows Cokeburg. And that's key.
Yeah, sister cities or sister towns,
absolutely.
Sister villages, right?
About the same size.
And so for folks outside of what we call CFU, Croatian Fraternal Union, right? Everybody in the CFU knows, and I think in politics knows of your grandfather, but explain a little bit more about your grandfather, because he has a prominent role in the Croatian society community. Yeah,
so he was president of the Croatian Fraternal Union for 35 years. I had the unbelievable honor to be able to work with him for about a year before he retired. But he was one of a kind. He built this place to what it is today. I mean, we could go all the way back to the beginning of the local lodge and work our way up. But I believe it was 1947 or so, he became president of this lodge here in Cokeburg. He was, a funny story, he was so young of a president that they couldn't apply for a liquor license. So it was the only time he gave up a presidency was when he gave it to my uncle to be president, my great uncle, to be president so they could get a liquor license, and then he became president again. So that's a fun fact that he had to, the only time he ever gave up a position was when he had to give it up so we could get a liquor license for the club.
That's awesome.
But ever since then, everything's been like a project for him. The Colo Club, which became St. George Junior Tamburitzans, was his vision. He started it. The adult Tamburitzans was kind of his idea as well, as the festivals that go along with it. He was very, very involved in the organization of. But he saw a need where the kids were graduating at age 21. They still wanted to play, and there was nothing for them. So let's create an adult group. Let's start doing that. And that just kept going down the line, and now we got Adult Fest, where we have 2,000-3,000 people join us in major cities throughout the United States. I mean, it's amazing what his hands have been involved in, and goal is just to keep it going for him. I mean, that's the main goal. Yeah, we had to give the man a little bit of due there, and I think he would be proud of you. I appreciate that. And your continued support of the CFU and everything he's built, and so that's good. A little Steelton connection, because you mentioned the Adult Tam Fest, and we were sitting down having a conversation with Scott Kuran, and he talked about the Crow Quarantinis and how you guys coordinated a little bit, and then how he got a shout out from a Cokeburg fan this past summer. So we did. Those were amazing because that was right during the pandemic when everything was just, nobody knew what was going on, and you needed a little bit of levity, right? You needed something just to get your mind off of the food and everything was the worst ever, and Scott did an amazing job with that. Yeah. He did a great job helping us because we had to cancel some of our events to utilize his platform to make it available for everybody, so we could have a Tam Fest Crow Quarantini, which was unbelievable. I mean, my wife was a little angry. I was up till 2 a.m. in the basement of my house screaming into a microphone, but I mean, it was one of those things where everybody was it just brought so much life back into everybody, and I really do think it kept a lot of us together, made a lot of us closer. I mean, he did a great job with that, and I got to commend him for that. He's brilliant mind when it came to that stuff.
And he appreciated your support, Cokeburg.
We actually, I remember one of the first ones, I actually brought equipment home, set up mics, and we actually played some songs on it for everybody. That was on my parents' deck, or in their driveway we did it. It was unbelievable.
Awesome. So we touched a little bit about the lodge history. Let's go a little bit more into that. If you could talk us through the lodge history and then your role as VP.
Yeah. So our lodge, so the town of Cokeburg began in 1900 when Ellsworth, who was the next town over, he came in from Chicago, bought up a bunch of property and started building coal mines. 1906, Đuro Godić was the one he was a member of the National Croatian Society, which was the predecessor to the CFU. Okay. So that's what the CFU, the National Croatian Society, and other organizations ended up becoming the CFU. And I can't remember the actual date for that one.
That's the first time I heard that. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, so that's the history of that. And he was a member of that prior to coming to Cokeburg. And the reason why everybody came to Cokeburg was because of the mines. Yeah. It was an opportunity to provide for your family in a place that looked almost identical to home. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they brought their families, and all the houses in town were actually owned by the mine. So the way they would get the people to come, you wouldn't have to pay to live, or you'd pay them nominal fee for rent, but you had to work in the mine. So it was like hand in hand. Yeah. And there were total streets in Cokeburg that were all Croatian people, immigrants that came over. So in 1906, I believe he went to a National Croatian Society's convention. 1907 is when the charter for our organization, him and 12 of his buddies got together, and they said, we're going to start a lodge. And it really was to provide them not only the security that the CFU still does with the insurance, because there was very little protection for workers back then. Yeah. So this provided, if something were to happen to your husband while he was in the mine, you would still be able to eat and feed your families. But it also provided that sense of community that they had in Croatia. So it gave them a place to socialize, gave them a place to hang out, meet the rest of the town. And it really was what built this town up. All these small clubs. There was an Italian club right down the road. Yeah. The Moose here. I mean, it was like I told you. At one point there were more bars than churches in Cokeburg. I mean, and Cokeburg's maybe a town of 300-400 houses. Yeah. So, but it was really because of the mines that this lodge came to be. And during the Depression, during World War II, there was a lot of ebbs and flows with membership. People can't keep up with their payments, but we always kept this place available for them. Nice. Always had somewhere to go, and it wasn't even here at that time. They were using other houses at the time. And then in about the late 1940s, early 1950s, they purchased this property, which became our home for the future forever. It started as a smaller building. After two renovations, it's now the hall you see here. We have the upstairs, downstairs. We have some amazing events here, and we fit darn near 1,000 people here at times. I mean, it's one of those things. We're blessed to have this hall, and it all goes back to those initial 12 guys who got together and realized there was something here in Cokeburg that was special. That what they were trying to do was make sure everybody was protected, but also socially involved. And through the years, like I was talking about that, with the unions and the mine and everything, we've had a lot of members who were socially involved in politics and things like that. One of the presidents of the UMWA, United Mine Workers, came right from Cokeburg, was one of our lodge members. Really? We have lodge members who sit on the court in Washington County. Senators have been members of Lodge 354, and that's all because of those bricks laying for years, working to expand our grasp in the area. And you can ask anybody in the tri-town, tri-state area, they're going to know where Cokeburg is. It's one of those things where we're very lucky to have a good group of people, a growing group of people, and a strong base here in Cokeburg.
Yeah, that it is impressive because there are so many of these small towns that have gone the other way, right? People just move out and then everything, even the lodges or whatever's there, just close down, and it's sad. But it's really to everybody that's come through these doors and have been active, have been volunteering. Like we said, we're always seeing Cokeburg activities on your Facebook and in the CFU, the Z. So it's hats off to you and all the folks here that do the hard work to keep the community active and engaged. So,
we got a good group. We got a good group of people. It was always the running joke at any of our events. There was always one or two politicians here because they knew where they were going to get their votes for this town. You come here, you talk to everybody, you're taken care of. Show them that you have a beer and have a Sodoma, you're good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you gave us a little tour before we get set up here and start our interview, our conversation here. And there's a great bar from your he had a vision of what we called it
the Crystal Lounge.
The Crystal Lounge.
Yeah, that's the classy bar.
Yeah, so we got a shot of that. We'll add to the podcast, and we'll take some other pictures so people see the lodge here. It's a great
just
place.
just like the CFU when he was there, he wanted it to be part usable space, part museum. I mean, you look around, I mean, there's shelving everywhere that has a little bit of history, and it's not necessarily even our history. It's kind of across the board, local history, Croatian history. He wanted to touch on a couple different things, and he wanted to make sure that when you were here, you felt as comfortable as you can be. Just like you go to Rankin Club, just like you go to Stilton Club.
Yeah.
As soon as you sit down, you feel at home. I mean, it really is. And that's our main goal. That's really what it is.
It's the Croatian cheers.
Yes,
Norm
absolutely.
Comes through. Hey, Norm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Director of Fraternal Programs. Tell us, I heard it's everything that somebody doesn't want to do. I don't know. Tell me.
That's a little bit of it. Yeah. So, Director of Fraternal Programs, the initial position was a sports director, as you guys probably remember from back in the day. Yeah. What they did back in 2013-14 is transition a little bit to incorporate a lot of different aspects because the sports director necessarily wasn't a full-time job. So they started adding more aspects, and they keep adding more aspects. So I take care of all our, the CFU, for those who might not know, our main business is insurance, annuities, and IRAs. Yep. That's how we make our money. Yep. Our main goal across the board is to protect our members' money. That's take care of you from top to bottom. Our secondary kind of look at things is we want to make sure that we always protect, perpetuate, and promote our Croatian culture and heritage. Mm-hmm. So we do that via a couple avenues. We have our sporting avenues, which is our golf, basketball, bowling, skiing. Always looking into new ones. We could talk about that later. And our cultural aspect, which is our junior and adult Tempodica festival, which one is the juniors is in July, the adults in November historically. Okay. And really it's providing an outlet almost like what they did here back in 1907. Mm-hmm. You want to give that social aspect to your members. That you don't get that from your MetLifes, you don't get that from your Travelers, you get that from the CFU. Mm-hmm. And that's very important that people understand that we're doing what we can to make sure our members have that culture in their heart, just like we do working there. Yeah. So on top of those things, we also have the CFU Scholarship Foundation, which I'm a member of board of, where we have it's probably close to $9 million endowment now. Wow. We give about $200,000 away every year to graduating seniors and college students. And we do have one specific fund earmarked for med school. Yeah. So we normally do about 200 of those a year, give out about $200 and change $1,000 a year in scholarship money. And then we also have our humanitarian aid efforts. When the earthquakes hit, we had an unbelievable outpouring from our members donating funds. I'm going to say, I can't remember which one it was. The water tower in Vukovar was one where I believe we raised close to $50,000. I think the earthquakes we raised close to $100,000, and that's just donations from our members. And we can't thank them enough for seeing a need in Croatia and using us, trusting us to find the right venue to apply those funds. We always work through Croatian Red Cross, local committees, local churches, and like that. So we do our due diligence to make sure that the funds get there. But that being said, all of those kind of fall under my office. Yeah. if boxes need moved, garbage need taken out, whatever it is, I rarely say no. I never say no to a job that's being asked of me at the CFU. So that's why job security is there for me.
You're a busy man.
Yeah,
as
constantly.
We said, you're a busy man.
Constantly.
And so, we talked about your grandfather's role, heavily involved in the CFU, and we talked about being a VP and director. Like, you have a passion for this, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a given, and
No.
it's not just like a family. Oh, we're going to pass this down and you get the job. You've been working hard a lot of your lifetime.
Absolutely.
To support everything that was built, whether it was your grandfather's or not, through the lodge here.
For sure.
Or through the broader organization of the CFU, right?
Yeah.
So that ascension up into these positions, I'm having a hard time talking today, but through these positions is what I'm saying. It's not a given, because if I don't have the interest, even though my family has, right? So what keeps driving you? What's that, right?
That's a good question. Well, we have here that the CFU also has a lot of those organizations that are strong. It's almost in the corporate world you would call it succession planning, right?
Yeah.
You think ahead. Some of the ones who might not have survived up until this point, it was one person or one family that kind of took it on their wing, did all the work, kind of kept people at arm's length because they were worried, they didn't want it to be messed up. We've always invited anybody who wanted to help us to come in and help us. Yeah. And we have some of our closest friends who work here and who are members of our organization aren't even Croatian. I mean, that's to have that grasp where we've invited everybody in, we've allowed them to become a working member of our organization. Yeah. That's extremely important. Yeah. For me, I'm an oddball when it comes to that question, because I kind of look at it like the mafia, born in, die out, right? I never had an option not to be involved, but I'm glad I didn't. I did go stray during college. I spent 4 years out at St. Vincent, kind of did my thing, but I immediately came back. I mean, it wasn't like I was gone forever. I was still here once or twice a month to do whatever needed to be done, picnics, festas, whatever. But I've always been involved. It's just one of those things where you see what it was, you see what it is, and you do have a vision of what it can be. And like I told you, as we were sitting here, I just kept throwing out ideas that I had about everything. I've opened a wall upstairs, put a garage door over here, picnic ground. It's just in my blood that I'm always thinking forward. I forget what's happening now, and it's a problem sometimes. But the end goal is I want to make sure that my kids' kids have this, because that's what was left for me. Yeah. You got to make sure that happens. Yeah. If you don't, nobody will. Yeah. So that's the end goal. We'll make sure my kids are sitting here with your son, daughter, whatever, in a couple years, doing the same thing, saying, "Hey, my dad did this, my dad did that." You know what I mean? There is an end goal there. Yeah, no, that's good to hear. It's like, people don't think about the business side of things, the succession planning, and it's good that that's being thought through. And you could say Croatian mafia, but Croatians are vocal too, and if they don't like it, right? So we're not shy of being vocal. Exactly. But as long as people are doing their job, and I think that's what we're seeing here is a continued effort, a heartfelt effort, for sure, that you're putting into everything you do for the community here, but the larger Croatian community across the states and beyond. So we just thank you for that. Yeah. So, nervousness, guest conductor, huge deal, family privilege to be with your folks on stage and that memory. So, how did it start? Talk us through that. It started as a terrible idea. I mean, you gotta start from the beginning. Whenever we said we were going to Croatia, this was post-COVID. Mm-hmm. You have to plan 2 or 3 years in advance. So we're talking 2024. This is 2022. Things are still just getting moving, right? So there was some concern that we didn't know how many groups we were going to actually get. Mm-hmm. So the thought process that kind of crossed my mind, and while we were doing it, was, we've had people reach out in the past saying, "Why don't we take TAMFest to Croatia?" Oh. And yeah, it's a good idea, but we've never done it before. And it's, as a Croatian, you'll know, that's not how we've ever done it. It's something you hear all the time. It doesn't matter what it is. So it was definitely a little bit of a question mark there, and we wondered what would happen. So we posed it to our groups, and a resounding yes. I mean, at one point I think we had 47, 48 groups say they were definitely going, and that's insane. I mean, you can't have 47 groups. Right. So then time kind of passed. We sent out another thing. Are you sure? And we ended up with 41 groups going to Croatia, which is a testament to the CFU, to be able to for these people to put their trust in the CFU that we're going to provide them with an unbelievable opportunity. They're paying for their own flights, they're paying for their own tours, hotels, food, everything, and they're just coming to celebrate with us. I mean, that's an amazing feat. Yeah. So we decide we're having this event. Some of the groups combined to make it a little bit easier on us. They did a great job working with us to combine the groups and really make the show what it was, which ended up being 3 sessions of about 13 groups each. I think one had 10, two had 13. And the way it kind of worked, the end goal is we're very happy with the product. Everything went absolutely superb. Nobody saw what happened behind the scenes, and that's all we hope. We want everybody to go have an amazing time and not see the craziness behind the scenes. Because it was insanity, working in 2 different time zones, working with governments, working with Hrvatska Matica Selenika, trying to get everything lined up for Vatroslav Lisinski. I mean, absolute disaster up until the day we were there. I mean, even the day we were there, the Prime Minister decided nobody can come in the door for the hour or half an hour leading up to the show. So it was just constant scramble. But the idea came to fruition. Probably one of the most monumental events CFU has ever put on. And I was glad to be part of the organizing committee to do it. When it comes to the guest conductor part, I think I was so busy with the craziness that I didn't get nervous. There was no opportunity to get nervous. But
that's a good thing.
It was. Yeah. But the guest conductor is chosen by the Junior Cultural Federation, which is the managing group of the festival. What they do, they provide help for our festival. They do a great job of it. And groups will put in their candidates for guest conductor every year. I was honored to be chosen by them. It was a voting process, and I got picked. And to have 3 generations of my family on stage was just, I mean, it's still, the hair on my arm stands up. I mean, to have my parents and my aunt, my brother next to me, and my kids. Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, it was one of those once in a lifetime opportunities that I can't thank the Junior Cultural Federation of the CFU enough for allowing me the opportunity. First, thinking the idea could happen, but allowing the opportunity to happen, and I mean, it was unbelievable. I can tell you, I was exhausted. I'm still tired. I mean, the amount of time and effort we put into that. It was 2 years in the making, a full year of planning, and I can't thank the people at the CFU. I mean, our workers, our executive staff there, everybody did an amazing job making sure that it worked. And that's really all we wanted it to do. Yeah.
And you sent some great pics. We're going to add those to the podcast as well. They're really fabulous, beautiful pictures.
Yeah. So that being said, we just dropped a trailer for an after movie that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a full movie. We still don't know how long it is, but they did interviews with people at Lisinski Hall. They took video of all the performances, the Gazda show the day before, the church the next day. Nice. So what was supposed to be something we could put out within a day or 2 after the festival, just is getting much bigger and much longer, but it's going to be something really special that everybody can kind of show off, and that's the end goal. I mean, the goal is we want everybody to show what we do. And that's all we think about when we're doing things like this. It's to make sure that our people have an amazing time, to make sure that they are as happy as we are with the event. And especially with the mass performance, because we invited everybody on stage for mass performance. Yeah. So I had close to 900 people on stage with me. And my goal at the end of the day was make sure they had as much fun as I did when I was up there.
So I was going to ask you that, how do you, I mean, I know you send out music sheets, song sheets, whatever, but how do you know, Is it just trust, or are you checking in with the other groups? Or how does this work?
It is utmost trust. We have, the CFU has such great junior groups throughout the United States, Canada, and Croatia. We have some amazing directors in all those groups, and I trusted all of them with teaching the selections that I picked to their kids and adults. I mean, and it's blind trust. It absolutely is, but it's blind trust knowing that they're in it for the same reason we are. Like, nobody's out there making $1 million teaching a cola group, right?
Right.
So they're doing it for the heart. And it's one of those things where we make sure we do it because we love it. I mean, I've been an assistant director here for 19 years for St. George Juniors.
Wow.
I've been in the group from age 5 till 21, and then I'm still in the adult group from, I think I started when I was 18 in the adult group and still in it. So I've always been involved, and a lot of these directors are the same way. And I can't thank them enough because it went without a hitch. Unbelievable. I mean, and the songs, to give you a little bit about the songs, I really thought about the songs that I chose because the first song I chose was a song that my mom, Danny, and Tomica Postlon wrote back in the late 80s. And it was the song that she probably would have performed if there wasn't a war in Croatia, because festival was planned to be in 1992 in Croatia, ended up going to Disney World. So it was nice, she got a nice place, but that song was supposed to be performed in Croatia, so I did that for her. The other two songs were written by Damir Bacic and Vjekoslav Dimter, who all have been members of CFU Lodge 354 at one point. And they were songs, Damir, that was actually the first time that song has ever been played. So I had him compose that one specifically for the event. And then the last song is just a song.
That is blind faith.
Oh, absolutely. They've never heard it before. All we did was record it one Tuesday night at adult practice.
Cow.
And we said, here, learn it, let's see what happens. And amazingly, it was honestly, in my opinion, it was the one that was played the best out of all of them. I mean, because he did a great job writing the song for children. It was catchy, and it really encompassed the all for one for all that the CFU claims as its motto. But like I said, I can't thank the directors in all these groups enough for the amount of time and effort they put in with their kids, not only just to keep the events going, but to have them all up there, having little kids sing the words that I picked out. Unbelievable. I mean, it's like I said, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can't thank everybody enough for it.
Yeah, I was picturing in my head, like trying to think, coming here today, that question, like I was seeing different Zoom shots of groups on the camera, and you trying to coordinate all that. Yeah. But no, that's, going back to the early days of some of those festivals, it was the same way, right? It was blind trust.
Oh yeah, so that event takes place every year in July, and it travels around the United States. And the guest conductor piece is always there. We just never incorporated adults. I didn't expect the amount of questions that I would get from the adults versus the kids. Questions came way harder and way more direct. They were like, I think this note's wrong in this measure. But I appreciated it all because they made sure that everything went smooth, and we really didn't have too many revisions. Once we sent it out one time, we kind of held to it, and we were very lucky and very blessed that it went off without a hitch.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's totally awesome. Well, coming attractions, what's in the future for the Lodge or CFU or personal aspirations?
For sure.
Anything you want to share?
Yeah, so I'm not sure when this is coming out, but if it comes out soon, we have a picnic coming up December 7th. Yeah, so we have a picnic coming up December 7th. But St. George is kind of set in their ways. We have events every year like clockwork. And it's one of those things where you may be discouraged sometimes, and this is almost a letter to the club runners out there, right? You may be discouraged sometimes that you might only get a couple people at your events, but the continuity of the events is what keeps people around. And just for this most recent picnic, just because I'm talking about it, I'm receiving calls from people. We sold out of lamb yesterday at 9 p.m. while I was sitting at the bar here.
That's amazing.
I've gotten so many calls from people saying that their grandparents used to bring them 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and they can't wait to come because they're just now hearing about it again. It's that continuation. It's that perpetuation. It's the tenacity to keep it going that really is going to bring it back up. Like I said, even with our lodge here, there were ebbs and flows in the membership due to depression, due to the World War II. Yeah. But if you keep going, people will keep coming. Yeah. So our events are almost set in stone. You can almost count them like the sun, right? So end of March, we always have our Velica Festa, where we invite 10 to 13 groups here from across the United States and Canada. And it's an amazing event. It starts around noon, goes till 2 a.m., whatever it is. But these groups will come in, they'll perform once upstairs, once downstairs. We have lamb, we have the kitchen going, bars going, full blast, and people stay all day. It's just a day of music. It's really kind of a day for the groups to kind of get together. Yeah. But we have a ton of local people that come, a ton of spectators to come and watch. And it really has become a premier event at this club. We also have our normal events like our Easter egg hunt in April. In April, end of April, we have our St. George Day, which is every year. And this year actually is going to be our 70th anniversary of the junior group. So we're in talks with the alumni to come back and maybe do like an alumni performance. But that's a 2-day event where Saturday we have a wonderful show at our local high school on stage. And then Sunday we have a procession to the church. After the high school we have a huge party here, of course. Then Sunday we have a procession to church, have a Croatian mass with tambura music, and then we come back here and celebrate again. So it's 2 days of celebration. Normally we get a couple groups from out of town to come in, and it's really a fantastic time to celebrate St. George on their name day. Yeah. And then we have our St. George golf outing every year that just happened. Yeah. That was normally the first Sunday in August. Almost, like I said, it's clockwork. We know what we're doing. And that's at Nemacolin Country Club. It's a wonderful event. We're almost at an invitational level because we're getting such a great outpouring. But this past year, last year was our highest. We made, I believe, $16,000 in one day. Wow. This year, I think we were very short on time this year because of the festival in Croatia. We did it in 3 weeks, put everything together. But we made over $11,000. And it's due to our local ties to our businesses here in the area. And the continuity. I mean, people know it's coming. People love to participate in it. We put on a heck of a golf outing. I'm not gonna lie. I put on quite a few throughout the year, but it's one of my favorite for sure. And then December is our Christmas party. It's always like the second or third week in December. Keep looking on our Facebook page because that information will be coming up soon. Santa comes and it's free for anybody in the community. We invite everybody in the community as well as all of our Tamburitsans to come up and celebrate with us. We play Christmas songs, we give a great meal, kids sit on Santa's lap, parents have a cocktail and enjoy everybody's company. And it really is it's a heartwarming event. My kids love it. They love to come up here. At one point, Santa spoke Croatian, so it was really fun. He was a jolly old Saint Nick, Sveti Nikola that time.
Sveti Nikola, yeah.
But it really is. Our community ties, our CFU ties, and our group ties are very strong here, and we're very blessed to be able to have that. It really, but like I said, you can't get discouraged if you have an event and you don't have the right amount of people, because a year or two later you might be gangbusters because you kept it going. And that's the motto of pretty much how I run things. I mean, there may be days where I get discouraged with a basketball tournament because we don't have enough teams. We're going to have it next year and the following year after that, because I know if we do the right things, it'll be back in full force and probably better than it was before. Yeah.
Big Six is going to be back.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I can't wait to buy some of that merch this time. That's my goal. I want to get some of that merch. We have the sticker up there. I have a sticker in my office. I mean, they're everywhere. You guys laid it out. Everybody knows who the Big Six is.
Rankin Nation, we're proud and loud. Again, I can't compliment you enough, because it is consistency is a factor, but it's the people behind that consistency, and you've been a great leader again for the lodge, and that is a family trait, I think. But there has to be aspirations to use that talent, and I think you've done it well, and compliments to you.
Appreciate that.
And to your team, not only here but at at the CFU as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'd be remiss if I didn't announce the CFU events too.
Yes,
because
go
we
ahead.
have our
Go ahead.
Ski Fest coming up at Holiday Valley. That'll be January 31st, February 1st and 2nd, and we're taking it to a new venue, which is going to be awesome. Up in the mountains of Western New York. Absolutely beautiful place. I had a chance to go up and check it out. It fits our needs. It's a ski town. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be easier for our people coming from Canada. For our Cleveland people, it's still going to be the same distance. The only thing is our Pittsburgh people are finally going to have to drive a little bit further. We've been babied.
I was going to say, do people know you're changing?
They do. They do. We've been lucky for years having it at Hidden Valley and Seven Springs, where it's an hour away, right? Well, I need all those people to realize that people from Cleveland, Canada, New York have been coming for years. They've been driving 3, 4, 5 hours. So we got a reciprocity of that, you know what I mean? Reciprocate that. But I'm really looking forward to that one in a new location.
Cool.
After that, we have our basketball tournament where we're still working it out. The plan is to incorporate some sort of clinic for kids again this year.
Nice.
We didn't make it happen last year. Last year, I will admit, I was so busy with Croatia. It really did take a lot of my time that I'm putting a lot more focus into our sporting events, because now that's in the past. We're back to normal keel. So that'll be in April, May-ish. June, we're looking at bowling tournament. I'm working on Las Vegas for that.
Nice.
So we'll hopefully take that out to Las Vegas. Don't hold me to that, because we haven't signed a contract yet, but we have a venue, just looking for room rates. And then June will be golf tournament. Still looking for a location for that. I'm thinking we're probably going to head up towards Canada maybe, because it's been quite a few years since we've been up there, and there's been some issues with since COVID with border crossings and some of our older members coming over. So I want them to have an opportunity to play in our outing. So if we go visit them this year, that would be really nice. And then we have our festivals. Our Junior Fest, we don't have a location for it, but it's normally right around the 4th of July weekend. Yeah. And Adult Fest, no location for it, because Croatia took up so much of our time. We're in the final stages of these. But we're looking always around the first weekend of November. So those are our, like I said, like clockwork. You know when the CFU event is, because it's been that way for the past 30, 40 years.
Should I ask about personal aspirations, or there's no time for...
There's no time. I've hit my personal aspirations. I'm doing what I love. Well, it was funny. Whenever they offered me the position of Director of Fraternal Programs, I actually saw it as a little bit of a windfall, because now I get to go to the events that I was already paying to go at, but now I get paid to be there, you know what I mean? So I'm actually saving money in the long run. Actually, I lose money every event.
You have more work on your plate than...
Absolutely. And by the time I buy drinks, I'm broke. But no, it really is one of those things where I'm doing what I really love. And I have a lot of friends who... they go to work and they're not happy. I can't say that. I'm truly blessed to be able to do this for a living. I'm lucky that my wife is understanding that I'm gone at least 2 weekends a month. But I really do. I do appreciate all the support that I've received up until this point.
Awesome. So for the Cokeburg information, they come to the Facebook page, which is...
Yes. You can search on Facebook, St. George Croatian Club Cokeburg, I believe, is what it's listed as. We just have a Facebook page right now. I've been working on a website, but like I said, it gets put on the back burner, and half our members, they couldn't find it if it was on the website. So it's easier just on Facebook. Everybody knows how to get a notification.
The other half is waiting for the Z to come in the mail.
Exactly. Exactly right. That's it.
And so CFU, they have a website. You can go to. People can go
CFU.org is our website. We also have Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I manage all of that as well. So if you have any gripes, you know who to talk to. And I'm willing to always say, my email is dhahn@cfu.org.
There we go.
You have any questions about membership, you have any questions about an event, listen, everybody who wants to complain about them finds my email. So the people who want to give a little bit of outpouring, I'm always willing. But please, no matter what the question is, no matter what their concern is, if they just are looking for the nearest picnic or nearest lodge, hit me up. My email is easy, dhahn@cfu.org. Or you can call the office and I'll talk to you if you don't have email. I'm easy to get to, and I think that's very important, to be accessible. you never want somebody to wonder and not call because it's either a difficult process.
Yeah.
You want them to be able to reach out to you at any given time. And you ask my wife, my phone, this job is not 9 to 5. I may be in the office at 8:15 and leave, or 8:30 and leave at 5:15, but my phone rings 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever it is. There is never a time I might ignore it because I'm sleeping, but I'll call you back in the morning.
I know, 'cause I texted you a couple times late at night. So
absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great day, a great conversation. I can't thank you enough for hosting us here at the Lodge.
Yeah.
Spend some time with us. Really appreciate.
It's an honor that you guys came and spoke to me. Like I told you at the beginning, I didn't think I was going to have enough for an hour if it was just about me. But then you said, well, we'll do it about the Lodge and CFU. I was like, all right, 2-3 parts, no problem. We could talk about that for hours.
And we're going to take you up on that because there is a whole series there that we could shoot on the CFU.
Absolutely.
And we hope to have more conversations with you in the future
Without a
about
doubt.
that. Yeah. So really, thank you. You've been a gracious host, and thank you for your time because I know you are a busy guy.
Hey, thanks for coming on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. So to wrap up another great episode, and to all of our CRO-AM followers, just want to say thank you, Puna Fala, to everyone for listening, to Filthy 46 Productions for all their editing and production expertise. And until next time, Živeli Hrvati, veliki poz I bol.
Catch our next episode where we sit down for a conversation with Matt Furjanic Jr., high school and collegiate coach for over 40 years, and Pittsburgh committee chair for the 2024 Croatian American Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and other podcast platforms, along with watching us on our YouTube channel or following us on Facebook and Instagram at CRO-AM Connection. Thanks and appreciation to Derek Hohn for being our guest, St. George Lodge, Filthy 46 Productions, Steimer Erskine for the Great Big Six merch, and as always, our CRO-AM followers.
Follow.